Hello, welcome back. It's been quite a while since I've done any videos, so I thought I'd finish off the Eurorack modular set of videos with this last one, which shows the complete live setup. So in this video I'm just going to go through the other bits and pieces I use for my live performances and demonstrate it on a track that I'm working on. So yeah, we'll just go through all the different bits and bobs and then listen to a bit of music that I'm working on at the moment. Okay, so here are the little individual bits. Obviously we've seen the Eurorack system before. That's what all the other videos were about. That's that bit and that bit. On top I have this little beastie here. This is a Korg Electribe EM1, quite an old module. It's a groove, what's called a groove box, and basically what that does, that is a sort of drum machine and two synthesizer parts and a sequencer all in one little box. So that gives me another drum part, another two synth parts, and that could just run as a standalone little module. It's pretty good on its own actually, but I've got MIDI clock going into that. So that's now all synchronized to everything else that's going on. So moving over to the right of the Eurorack, I've got a little box thing there. That's the Kenton Pro Solo. It's actually a MIDI to CV converter, so that lets me convert MIDI information into control voltages, which I could use with the Eurorack, or however I'm not using it for that. I'm using it in a what's called sync mode, and that gives me converts the MIDI clock, which is coming from the computer, which we'll look at in a minute, into a 24 pulses per quarter note thing, which basically then goes into that red wire. You can see that red wire coming out of the Pro Solo and going into my focusing, right? Come on, you do like that. Why is it not focusing? That goes into the Pamela new workout clock generator. So you get a master clock going in there, then I get all my different clocks coming out of that. So that's what that's for. Here is just a little mixer. So I've got my Eurorack coming into left and right into the first two channels here. Into 3 and 4 is my audio interface, which connects to the computer. So anything that's coming off the computer is going into there. And I've also got a tape in, so the actual output from my Korg EM1 is going into the tape in there. So I've got sort of basically 3 instruments that I can mix together, and then that's just going out to the monitors, which are over here. So that's just a little mixer. This is my Arturia Keystep Pro, which is a new beastie, which I'm just starting to use now. This actually lets me, this is a 4-track sequencer in its own right, and arpeggiator. And as well as controlling MIDI things, I can control the modular with that as well. I won't go into a lot of detail because I'm only just starting to use it now, but basically I can, using my switch multiples over here, I can switch between whether the internal sequences in here are controlling the Eurorack or whether this is controlling the Eurorack. It just gives me a lot more options, and it can do a lot more than that. It's got arpeggiators built in, all sorts, so I'll look at that in a minute. Excuse me. This is my controller keyboard and Ableton Launchpad. So this lets me control stuff that's going on in Ableton, because Ableton is what I'm using as my sort of master sort of sequencer and clock generator basically. Although there's not a lot going on in Ableton really. in this track I have got quite a few drum loops, as you can see on here. These are just well, they're not actually drum loops, they're sort of guitar loops. There are some drum loops as well. Let's go over to that's what control the keyboard, so I can play stuff on here live or sequence stuff in. I've got a series of sliders which I'll come to in a minute. So over here is my laptop, and I'm actually running, let's close that down a minute, so you can see that I'm running Ableton Lite. Actually it's the sort of free version, because I don't really need, all I'm using Ableton for basically is just to be able to trigger a few little loops which I've got in there, not many. But the main purpose of Ableton is I'm running a software instrument called Omnisphere, which is a wonderful thing. Got loads and loads of really good sounds in it. Let's get it up, and I'm using it in a thing called Live Mode, which gives me 8 different tracks of arpeggiators, and I can actually run them along with Ableton, so everything's all in sync, I hope, and it lets me, there's little yellow lights on there, those are the latch buttons, and that lets me latch the arpeggiator. It basically means once I've played on the keyboard some notes, they'll just keep playing over and over and over again, sort of like a sequence, but I can keep changing those, and so it's really good. And I can also play individual instruments, so like for example this classic nylon strings here is just this will work, is just basically a sound that I can now play on the keyboard. So I can play along live as well, so when all this is going I can still play stuff along live as well. Is that everything? I think that's everything. So yeah, so that is my entire live setup. Basically keyboard and a keyboard stand with a Launchpad, and then everything else is just on a guitar case. So I need to use a couple of keyboard stands and put that guitar case on a keyboard stand live. Plug all this onto. It takes about half an hour to set everything up. Possibly longer now I've got the Arturia Keystep. So what we'll do now is have a look at how I use this with a track. Okay, so let's get this track going. So first thing I need to do, make sure everything's turned down to start with. Turn everything down on my Eurorack. All faders down there, no Electribe. And basically I just start Ableton off. There we go, that's wrong. So what's happened there is all this, I need to switch all these parts off, so the 2 synth parts and the drum parts on there are all playing when I hit play on here. So let's try that again. There we go, so that's playing now. As you can see, everything's, all the lights are flashing, which is a good sign. So now I'm just going to put a few arpeggiators in. Well, let's just have a listen to this. Let's just play a loop. I started that in the wrong place. Okay. So that's just a loop playing from Ableton. Now I wouldn't usually do this live, I'd actually get this set up beforehand. I'm just playing that so I can just get some arpeggiators going in. hopefully all those are running now. Fine now. So I'll stop that. So now if I was actually doing a gig, all those arpeggiators are running, so hopefully I can start bringing them in. So this one is just should be just a chord. It's a bit of atmosphere. And then I can actually play some stuff along with that. Just to just bringing in the sequencers, the arpeggiators that are running in Omnisphere using these sliders. I've also got an arpeggiator running on here, which is triggering a new module called 2HP pluck module here. So if I bring that in on the hear that. Now I can bring in my sequencer that's running, playing the plates here. Change the arpeggiators so I can play on here, different arpeggiators. That's everything's running sequence now, all clocked from the Ableton. So two sequences running on Ableton, the arpeggiator running there, doing that, sequence going there, I can bring them. bass line as I triggered on this sequence here. Start bringing some things in here now. So the idea. All the ribbons and everything synchronised and just bring things in and out.